All right, Joe, good to see you, my man. It's been a few weeks. It's summer, so I know you've been working on your tan. I've been working on my bod, beach muscles, which is why
Yep.
we're off schedule here. But in all seriousness, we continue to work with lots of veterans in transition, and you've been hosting these live Azimuth Chats. So if you don't know this, we have these 3 times a week live Zoom calls. We call them Azimuth Chats, checking on your
Mhm.
direction, your trajectory. It's just a chance for people who've already gone through a program to keep connecting, keep thinking about life. If you are going through the program, it's the perfect venue to come and say, all right, here's how I'm doing, here's what I'm thinking about. And then if you haven't started yet, it's also the perfect venue. So we have, what, 593 veterans the other day, you said, in one Zoom meeting, which sounds like chaos. It's not. It's actually a really deep, thoughtful conversation. So you have been kind of floating this concept that I'd love for you to share.
Yeah, it's been it's great. So I tried it out. It's a question that I actually borrowed from Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. It's a good book.
All
Definitely
right.
recommend it.
All right.
Rat. And so the idea was, I want to say the premise was a relative asked him, younger Matthew, who's your hero? And he just kind of, and I don't know if this is true or not, but he says it in the book. He's like, my 25-year-old self, or something to that effect was his answer,
Okay.
because he was so wise as a young boy. Um, but that's what kind of spurred this question, which I asked the veterans on this one call, is if the 10-year-old version of you could see yourself today,
Mm.
what would they say? And you never know what's gonna who's going to unmute and raise their hand and share
Yeah.
something and what they're actually going to say. But what was really neat, this one gentleman, he's finishing his military career, squared away, like super articulate, just polished, sharp, young, married, kids. And he said, I'd be shocked. And as it goes, I'm in I have a clean apartment. I have a beautiful wife, kids.
Mm.
What you don't know is that when I was 10, I was living in a car with my mom. We had
Ooh.
nothing. And I'm like, holy cow. I'm
Yeah.
expecting, something a little bit lighter. And he went there. And it was amazing for him to kind of share. He was so proud. He was so
Mm.
excited at that question of a young version of him asking or like looking ahead at himself today.
Mm.
And that was like a continuation of the call. And it was so much positive energy. Again, you have over 500 people on a Zoom call, and people are taking their turns, raising their hand, unmuting, sharing their thing
Yeah.
of, man, I never would have thought I could lead people. I never would have thought I could travel the world the way I did.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have thought, and it just fill in the blank is whatever you can come
Yeah.
up with. And it was so, let's just say, man, like you and I get this privilege of hearing these conversations. Like we do
Yeah.
this because we want to see veterans transition well, but also we're served a healthy portion of awesome
Yeah.
responses from really
I
great
know.
people. Dude, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd
So
pay. I would pay money, honestly, to go. Especially as we've had people when they complete Vector or the Honor Foundation course get up and share their life story. Like, I mean, that would a beyond a privilege. It's valuable to sit and listen to someone articulate about their life. I'm trying to
yeah.
think for me, 10-year-old me certainly be shocked to be on a podcast, and not because they didn't exist back then, but I just never saw myself as a communicator. I didn't raise my hand in class. I didn't aspire for leadership, and so a big chunk of what I do is communicate, like facilitate, lead, speak. And that just would have been so bizarre. And then also, I think my imagination for life as a grown up involved an office, involved a suit and tie and a briefcase. And I think I've only had an office for like 45 minutes, in 25 years of a career. And this would have been like, you do what? You do what for work? And I'm like, oh, I have Zooms. And they're like, what? Or I get in my car and I drive and meet people for coffee. Like, what? That's work.
Yeah.
So I think there's certainly that. And then there's plenty about family, and wife and
Mm-hmm.
kids, that would have been like, that would be like, I get to. And it would be nice to have known that. Like, she's going to be pretty. You're going to have 3 kids.
I know, right? Like,
And
oh man, I hope they're pretty. I hope they're pretty.
totally. I just literally thought of a girlfriend the other day that I had, I think when I was a sophomore in high school, I hadn't thought of in years. And I was like, man, like, why did I date her? I think at the time I was like, because you just don't know. You don't know if you just
You don't know what you
kissing
don't know.
frogs. She was on a frog, but um, yeah, it would have been nice to be like, hey, look, the next 5 years, 10 years, just don't worry about it. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like that would have been really helpful. How about
What's
you?
what's what I like? Well, what I like about this exercise is hearing people's responses. So it's funny that and Matthew McConaughey wasn't 10 years old. I think he was much older. My mind just went to 10 because I'm thinking if I choose 18,
Yeah.
you're not quite an adult, but you're still thinking a little bit more probably
Uh-huh.
about achievements,
Uh-huh.
about accolades or like the office or the car
Yeah.
or those things. I think 10-year-old version, uh, I would be thinking about the family dynamic. Like, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 sons that actually I know. I
Mm-hmm.
actually know them and they know
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And like the relationship piece, wait, you're still married, like you're married to this
Right.
one person for going what, almost 30 years? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Uh-huh.
That's just a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's more like, okay, much less of like, you probably wouldn't understand the military thing, would maybe be surprised, wait, military, that's
Mm-hmm.
weird. Like, were you driving a tank, or thinking 10-year-old
Mm-hmm.
mind. But much less on accomplishments and more about maybe the relationship side,
Yeah.
like the fact that I got people like you.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of a loner kid. Like I mean, I play
Yeah. Me
outside
too.
with kids in the neighborhood, but not like every
Mm-hmm.
day. And it was super
Mm-hmm.
rare. I was mostly by myself playing with Legos or drawing or something,
Right. Right.
right? And so to have relationships at this level,
Yeah.
that I'm in Dallas and you're in California right now, and we're
Right.
it's just
Friends.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
That's so
that's kind of where my mind goes.
I want to hit on that because I think there's a lot of people now that are being really nostalgic about the 1900s, like before cell phones, particularly. And there's always like memes and videos of like, oh, what was it like in the mid 90s to grow up? And there's no phones and everybody was hanging out, watching movies together and riding bikes together. And I have all those memories too. But I think what you just said just struck me. I too was playing outside, but the majority of the time was by myself, waiting for
Mm,
kids to come home or just, do my own thing, baseball cards, reading. And that was not fun. That was like, that
mm,
was, so there was a lot of loneliness. And
mm.
I think that's relatively common, like a common human experience of that time of life. And so I agree. The fact that I would have close relationships, friendships, and not like I always felt kind of desperate for somebody to want to play with me or like hang out with me. Yeah, to know that that's so. Yeah, I think if I can go back in time and hang out with little 10-year-old me, that'd be a piece of it. Like this loneliness is good for it's additive to your life. It's good. Enjoy it
Yeah,
because you're gonna have it's do not worry about are people interested in you? Do you have value? Do you have what it takes? Like those big questions. It would have been nice to have a hopeful answers.
what was neat too about that conversation with the veterans, and I guess any veterans that are listening to this, if they hopefully they do the exercise when they hear about it.
Yeah.
Even the hard stuff. So not everybody that raised their hand to share was all positive. It was some challenging stuff, and in their own, they didn't skip a beat. In the same
Mm,
breath, they said, "I'm stronger for it. I'm better for it.
mm,
I'm resilient," or whatever. It was all positive in the
yeah.
outcome as far as they got through something. And I thought, man, that's so good for everybody to hear because, again, I'm going to the positive things in my life. But I'm sure if you reflected a little bit on yours and I
Hmm.
reflected on mine, we went through some challenging moments.
Yeah.
And if the 10-year-old got a glimpse of that, they'd be horrified. They'd be scared.
Yep.
They'd be worried.
Yep.
But you're still here. You're like, you
Hmm.
made it. You're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the story that I think we really don't think about our stories that way. We just kind of
Right.
take it for granted, or we're looking at the next thing, or we're
Yeah.
nervous about the next thing, and the next thing hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
it's make believe. It hasn't happened. So what are we
Right.
nervous about? Like, be confident in what you've done. Notice the pattern. And I think that's the other thing that we
Mm-hmm.
do with stories is just patterns.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yep.
like we're starting from zero. And so if you have a pattern of finding success, you've been through all these chapters and now you not maybe not found success or whatever you want to call it, but you're in this new stage where you can be proud of what you've done. Well, guess what? You got more to do, and follow the
Yeah.
pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the pattern. You
Mm-hmm.
already have a good template. Keep it going.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this all
That's
matters
cool.
in transition. I think some people are like, what? Why would I do this? Why would I engage in this? And what we have found is obviously when you're leaving the military, there's these like pretty, I don't know, pressure-filled questions. Where am I going to live? What am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills? And those will cloud out a lot of the other stuff. And what we're trying to do, what I think Vector is designed for, is to help you slow down, to put that on pause, not forever or in a way that's going to hurt you, but actually take a slight little detour to this introspective path. Because the output, this is what happens now hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. Getting a little introspection, connecting those dots, seeing those patterns, and then to go back to those conversations about now, what kind of life do you want to have? Where do you want to work? What kind of career do you want to have? It just is, you're able to see kind of through a series of lenses a clearer way of what the way forward could be for you. So we highly encourage. I think that's why we have these episodes to more or less demonstrate what this all does. And if you want to test that exercise or come give Vector a test, you are welcome to join us in an Azimuth Chat Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour. You can just jump in on Zoom and keep your camera off if you don't feel like participating, or you can raise your hand and jump in. So any final words, Joseph?
No, it's just cool doing this work and seeing it work for so many veterans. Um, we had this idea way back when we knew it worked with smaller groups of veterans. Now we're doing it at
Mm-hmm.
scale.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool is to think about how we can grow this even more. So anybody also listening saying, hey, how can I add fuel to this
Yeah.
amazing thing? Man, reach out, let us know who you are, and we'd love to have a conversation.
Heck yeah. Alrighty. See you soon, Joe.
See you, bud.